There's a big change in people's lifestyles now, and so people are increasingly leaving dogs at home as they go out to work. And certainly what we know is that a recent study found that around 85% of dogs that were studied at the time were showing some signs of not being able to cope when they're left alone. So it certainly is a really, really significant welfare problem. And the other issue is that it's very much hidden, because by its very nature, owners aren't there to actually see that their dogs are struggling with being coping left alone. So lots of people don't necessarily know that their dog is finding it hard when they're not there.
Cathy, one thing I know I have heard anecdotally recently is that, you know, these newer breeds of dogs, cross breeds that are supposed to be very family friendly, don't need so much walking and are okay on their own. Is that just a myth?
I think it is, yes. They're still bred from other breeds, and they're group living animals, always have been, always will be. The nice thing about dogs is you can substitute other pack members for humans, so they will live quite happily with the family, but they're still group animals, so they do thrive on company. What
type of behaviour would you notice or would become apparent if the dog was stressed and lonely?
Some of the signs can be very, very subtle. We all know about those dogs that howl while their owners are at work, or bark, or destroy the house, or chew. But there are other signs that, like I say, can be very, very subtle. Some people will say, oh, my dogs are fine. But do they know their dogs are fine? You know, have they got a camera? Are they observing the dog? And sometimes the signs just aren't there that the dog...
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Dr. Gaines, a lot of people getting in touch this morning. I suppose inevitably, Rachel got in touch saying, I've got 2 dogs. I leave mine for 4 hours a day. They always have food, water, toys. I also film them to see what they're doing during the day when I'm not there. And she says they sleep a lot. They don't seem to be bothered. I suppose, I mean, that's a very responsible approach, isn't it? That's someone who's taking the trouble to see what's happening when you're not there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for most people, if they're concerned about whether their dog is coping when they're left alone, that's the best thing to do, is actually to take some video footage when they leave. Normally what happens is within sort of 5 to 30 minutes, the dog will actually become anxious if he hasn't become anxious before you've left. So you'll start to see sort of some of those problems that your other colleague's just been describing. So that will actually give you an indication that your dog is struggling when left alone. But yeah, certainly sounds like Rachel's dogs are really, really happy, and she's doing the right thing, giving them some food before she goes out, giving them some exercise, and making sure they've got lots to do when they're left alone so that they don't get bored.